how you wanna play it.
That's how you do it.
Valorant is a brand new FPS game brought to us by Riot Games. If you don't know who Riot Games are, they're the maker of League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics. Valorant's come out and been really popular. It draws a lot of inspiration from the Counter-Strike series of games and has some of the abilities from games like Overwatch and League of Legends. The game draws most of its influence, I would say, with the gunplay and mechanics from CS 1.6, but a lot of people are comparing it, obviously, to Counter-Strike Go, the most recent edition of Counter-Strike. With a lot of new people coming to this game, being new to tactical 5v5 shooters, I thought that they may not have the experience with the economy system that the game has that is similar to Counter-Strike with some of its own unique differences. So I thought I would quickly go over and explain all of the economy stuff that you need to know to be good at Valorant. So when you first join a game of Valorant, you will start off with what's called the pistol round. Self-explanatory, this means that everyone will only be able to afford pistols and possibly armor depending on the pistol that they buy. You can also buy some of your utility because it is quite cheap. When I'm referring to utility, what I mean is the abilities that each individual character has. Now some characters' utility is a lot stronger and is a lot better to buy off first round. A good example of this is Sage's slow orbs. Since they are only 100 per orb, it is normally beneficial to have your Sage buy her orbs and keep with the normal pistol and possibly armor. The only time you can buy armor is if you buy one of the cheaper pistols. However, the Ghost pistol is preferential for people with good aim. So if you're an aimer and you come from games like Counter-Strike, you may want to go with Ghost and no armor, because the Ghost does have one shot potential if they're also not using armor. Winning the pistol round is very important for getting your team set up to win the next coming rounds. If you win your pistol round, you will get a bonus in money, which we'll go over later. However, if you lose your pistol round, your team will most likely be forced to save the next round. What pistol you want to buy is entirely up to you. You can play the Frenzy. The Frenzy is fully automatic and is a little bit cheaper than the Ghost. However, it does not have the one-shot headshot potential and is a little harder to control. The classic pistol does also have a right-click fire mode, which is more like a shotgun that fires 3 shots at once, which can be really powerful up close, especially if you hit the headshots. It will one-shot someone. And with the classic, you can also afford armor and some of your utility. If your team happens to lose the pistol round, what will happen is your team will receive a loss bonus. Now the first round loss bonus is only 1900 credits, whereas the winning team receives 3000 credits. If you get any kills during the pistol round, you'll receive 200 credits per kill, but that's only for yourself. Your team does not also receive those credits, and if your team plants the spike if you're on attack, you receive 300 extra credits each. So it's always beneficial every round, if possible, to try and plant the spike if you're on attack. Even if you've already won the round and you're in the overtime section at the end, where there's about 5-6 seconds, it's always beneficial just to plant that spike down if you can, just to get that extra money. If you do happen to be unfortunate in the pistol round and lose, you will not have enough credits to buy armor and a proper weapon. It's beneficial in this second round to full save. What I mean by full save is to just stick with the classic pistol, not buy any extra pistol, buy no armor, and as little utility as you think you can manage. This is called a full eco round, so if your team asks you to save or to eco, that's what they mean. They mean just a full save all your money for the next round so you can full buy. You'll see that a handy thing in this game is it actually tells you the minimum amount of money that you're going to have in the next round under your current credits, just on the left here. I'll highlight that for you. This means that you can always know the minimum amount of money you'll have if no one plants the spike and you don't get any kills in the round. This makes things much easier to manage than in Counter-Strike because you can always see how much you're going to have minimum and don't need to work it out on your own. So like I say, if you lose your pistol round, second round, just go for a full save, buy as little utility as you want, don't buy armor, don't buy any primary weapon, just stick with the classic pistol, see if you can get any kills, pick up any guns, save the guns, anything like that. So if your team win the pistol round, you'll be given 3000 credits, which is the win bonus in Valorant. If you get any kills, you'll have that extra 200 per kill, and if you're on attack and you got the spike down, you'll get that extra 300. It is possible to full buy second round if you win, but it is quite unlikely. So you will probably have to half buy with an SMG. What I would recommend is running an anti-eco setup for the second round, because if you won that pistol round more likely than not, the other team is going to have to do a save. They're going to have to buy pistols and armor, or get themselves a heavy pistol and no armor. What that means is you can easily run SMG and heavy armor, and run what's called, like I said, an anti-eco round, which means you're going to be killing them because they only have pistols, even though you don't have your main guns, you only have SMGs. A good strategy as well sometimes that I like to run is second round buying the Marshal, which is the equivalent of the Scout, or for anyone that's not played Counter-Strike, it's the sniper rifle that does not one-shot body shot unless they have no armor. If the other team decide to buy something like a Sheriff and no armor, this means that you can hold long sightlines with the Marshal and get one-shot body shots because they've chosen not to buy armor on their save round. This strategy can be really powerful, especially on maps like Haven that have quite long sightlines, because they're not going to be expecting you to one-shot them. So after the first couple of rounds, things get a lot more generalized. Just to let you know, this game does have a loss bonus, and it gets more each round you lose in a row. So every round loss you get 1900 credits, like I said, but after 2 losses you get an extra 500, and after 3 losses in a row you hit your maximum, which is an extra 1000. So you end up with 2900 credits on the maximum loss bonus, which is only 100 less than the winning team. Keep in mind as well that you are getting 200 per every kill that you get, and 300 for each player on attack if they plant the spike. What this means is, if you are getting pushed back by the enemy team quite hard and losing a lot of rounds, you will be able to buy if you start getting a loss streak on the go. So you will be able to buy even if you are dying round after round. One important thing to realise as well is sometimes it's more valuable to save the weapons that you have than to actually go for the clutch of the round. So if you're in a situation where it's 1v4 or 1v5 and you have one of your more expensive weapons, especially if it's an operator, but even a Vandal or a Phantom, it can be worthwhile just to back off, sit in a safe angle and try and save your gun, just so you're not losing that and you have more chance to win the next round. It's also very important to realise that your money is not just your money, so do be willing to buy for other people if they need it. If you are rolling and get a lot of kills, not dying, keep your gun, do be willing to buy for other people as well. Coming off that last point of buying for other people, the max money cap in this game is 12,000 credits, so if you're getting anywhere close to maxing out your money, make sure you're spending it, buying for other people. If they have less money, even if they have enough to buy for themselves, make sure you're buying it if you have really close to the money cap, because you're just going to be wasting any money you get over 12,000. If you lose a round and you find yourself in a situation where you don't have enough to buy your main weapon and armor, I would recommend not going for your main weapon with no armor, as you may end up just losing that money because you'll die a lot easier. What to do is called a half buy, as I mentioned earlier on. Buy your armor and any weapon that leaves you with at least 3900 next round, so you can buy armor and a main weapon. This is important because it means that you're not only saving a little bit, you can still get kills and get picks and things like that. You also have enough for next round, so you're not paralyzing yourself for the next round coming. You're not shooting yourself in the foot and leaving yourself with too little money to buy second round and not properly buying this round. So do a half buy like a Sheriff or an SMG and armor, whatever leaves you with at least 3900, so you can buy that armor and that weapon next round. You don't want to half buy a round involuntary by getting a Vandal and no armor and then leaving yourself in a situation where you can't buy a gun and armor next round. That's how you start snowballing and start losing round after round after round. Remember as well that if you do win an eco round, so if one of the rounds you're half buying or saving a little bit, you know, Sheriff, armor or SMGs, things like that, be sure that you're picking up enemies' weapons if they full bot. If they have Vandals, Phantoms and Operators, make sure if you win that round that you're hunting for those guns, that you're calling where they are. If you die with a gun, make sure you're calling where it is so your team can pick it up, especially if it's one of the more expensive weapons. Just make sure you're always communicating and keeping those guns in your team's hands, not just lying on the floor and getting wasted at the end of the round. One final point to mention is that you cannot buy armor or utility for other team members. So make sure that your people you're playing with know this, and that if they don't have enough to buy their armor and their gun, they're not buying the gun and not using armor. Make sure they're requesting the gun, buying their armor, buying their utility. You cannot buy that for them. They do have to buy the utility and the armor themselves. You can only buy weapons for other people. One very last point that's very minor. Rather than dropping your weapons like in Counter-Strike for other people, do make sure you are using the menu to buy it for them if you care about your stats in any way. This buying something for someone doesn't affect your econ rating, which is the amount of kills and damage you do per 1000 credits spent. If you drop your weapon for someone and buy your own, that will affect your econ rating. If you just buy it through the menu, it won't affect your econ rating. So if you care about stats, that's a nice way to game it so that you don't lose any econ rating for buying loads. You know, if you're playing well, you don't want to lose your econ rating because you're buying for everyone else on your team. So it's just a nice thing to know. So thank you so much for watching. I hope it wasn't too boring going over the in-game economy. I was just trying to make it as informative as possible for people who haven't played games with any kind of economy system or buying system in it before. Might have been a little bit boring, but what can you do? So if you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And if you have any constructive criticism or anything you want to tell me, just leave it in the comments, please. Thanks guys, see you after.